Chapter 65, Chapter 28. Inside a small mansion in the middle of a forest, in the academy area, Zeal, who was placed on the floor by Kalia, suddenly opened his eyes and woke up currently. Kalia is sitting with her legs folded while sipping tea. Other boys will have nosebleeds after seeing Kalia's beautiful and slender legs wrapped in black stockings in front of them, but Zeal looks at her with his poker face. "So, what do you want from me? There's no way you brought me here just because you're my homeroom teacher, right?" Zeal stood up and brushed the dust off his academy uniform. "Then I'll get straight to the point. Who are you? And what do you want you to the academy? No, in this world, to be exact." Kalia put a cup back on the table and asked with a serious face. "What do you mean? Isn't it obvious? I came to this academy to study." Zeal sat on a chair opposite Kalia and poured tea from the teapot in an empty cup on the table. "Can you stop pretending?" Kalia started to feel annoyed at Zeal's attitude. Maybe you mean my other goal. In that case, I'm just a butler of a noble's daughter." Zeal spoke to her while sipping tea in his cup. He immediately same attitude Kalia did before. Kalia stood up from her seat and walked towards the kitchen. She seemed to be shaking as she walked, not because of fear, but because she was holding back her anger. "Don't joke with me," she shouted and unleashed her full strength. 7 magic circles appeared on her body and 1 large magic circle floating behind her back. That is one of the things that distinguishes spiritism and magic, but Kalia can use both at the same time. "Kalia, stop." Sylvie, who understands what Kalia is about to try to stop her, but it's too late. Kalia made a bow from wind magic and bowled the bowstring and arrow. The wind magic was created and she shot straight at Zeal. The arrow shot at high speed towards him. A sword/magic master will be seriously injured if it hits hard by that attack. Zeal, who saw that, remains calm. He placed the cup he was holding on the table and covered with his bare hands. Then he squeezed the arrow until it shattered and turned into particles of light. "Is it you, so-called spiritism? I've seen it before, but it's not that big. Do you have the blood of the elven loyal family?" Zeal looked directly at Kalia. "No, rather the large magic circle, however, behind her back." He had seen people who used spiritism in the past, and that time he was interested in learning about it, but unfortunately he didn't have time to follow God's subjugation, and he didn't have a suitable teacher for him. "How do you know that?" "I don't care anymore." "Sylvie, help me." Kalia is surprised because Zeal can guess her origin, and only the principal of the academy knows, either because her identity was known or something else. Zeal said, "She lost her mind. I told you not to get in trouble with him. Why wouldn't you listen?" Sylvie, who had been inside Kalia's body all this time, manifested herself in front of Zeal. She was a blonde-haired girl-like creature about 15 centimeters tall, with 6 wings and a green dress. Sylvie then floated above Kalia's head. Sylvie, who was on top of her head, turned into a terrier. Then the whole body of Kalia is covered in light. After the light disappeared, Kalia, who was previously in the teacher uniform, was currently wearing an emerald-colored armor. She looked like a princess knight from an elf It was a combination of an elf and his contracted spirit. Currently, Kalia, whose hair is fluttering in the wind, looks very beautiful and amazing. Is that a great spirit of wind? I've only ever met a great spirit of water, and died after that. I've never met another great spirit, Zeal muttered under his breath as Sylvie appeared in front of him. But Sylvie heard what he was mumbling. What? Has he met another great spirit? Even for an elf, it's almost impossible. If not by chance, even Kalia can have a contract with me. Zeal was shocked to hear what Zeal said, because a human boy can meet more than one great spirit during his lifetime. This time Kalia made a big mistake because she was carrying away by her emotions. After all, the most important thing to help her, since she isn't contracted. Kalia's strength continued to rise to the level of a sage. She could even fight a draw against the principal on the academy. Tempest Arrow. Kalia and Zeal cast spells at the same time. A wind element arrow shot out with a speed and a power many times stronger than the previous Kalia's attack. The arrow was accompanied by a storm along its trajectory. You're troublesome. Zeal pointed his index finger at Kalia. Thunderbeam. The laser beam with lightning flashing collided with Kalia's wind element arrow. Boom! With such an explosion, Kalia's mansion shook. Smoke and dust covered the room. Her mansion wasn't destroyed, just a lot of cracks in the walls. It seems she had prepared beforehand by shrouding her mansion with a barrier no weaker than used. An academy tower. After the smoke and dust slowly dissipated, Kalia was astonished to see what was in front of her. Currently Zeal is holding a bow and has already drawn his arrows towards Kalia. Thunderbolt arrow. Kalia, watch out! Sylvie's warning came too late. Arrows made of lightning compressed shot out at a speed that was even faster than the combined attack of Kalia and Sylvie before. Boom! The arrow strikes heavily hit Kalia as a result of being hit by Zeal's attack. The combination of Kalia and Sylvie separated. Kalia, are you okay? Sylvie was worried about the state of Kalia. Was directly hit by Zeal's attack, but it looks like she's only suffered minor injuries to her stomach. I'm fine. How strong is he? Kalia screamed frantically while holding her bleeding stomach. Immeasurable. One word from Sylvie made Kalia freeze in shock. Currently, Sylvie floated over Kalia's head. She still couldn't join again due to Zeal's previous attack. I'm still confused about one thing. What is an elf royal family doing in the human region? Can it be that you were banished? Zeal said while guessing about Kalia's circumstances. But Kalia, who heard it, immediately woke up from her shock, and her face turned dark. It was like a wound in her heart opened because of Zeal's words. Shut up, Kalia shouted, full of anger. Kalia, calm down. Sylvie tried to calm her down, but currently Kalia couldn't listen to her Sylvie's voice. She was already consumed by her emotions because Zeal had opened a wound from her past. She shoots magic blindly at Zeal. Wind Circe. Thousands of huge Scythe made of a wind magic attack. Zeal simultaneously, but Zeal just strength up his hand and opened his palm at Kalia's attack. Mirror Fortress. A miniature fortress made of mirrors materialized in front of Zeal. When the scathe of the wind magic came into contact with the mirror surface, the direction from which her attack was reverted. Thousands of sentinels that previously attacked Zeal turned towards Kalia. What? Kalia was shocked and didn't have time to dodge the attack. Sylvie saw the attack, turned and headed towards Kalia immediately, made a barrier to block it, but the barrier wasn't perfect because it was rushed. The shiz easily pierced through and hit Kalia. Surprisingly, the scathes did not hit her vital points. They only tore up the uniform of the academy teacher she was wearing. Currently, Kalia is half naked in interior clothing. Sylvie saw this, tried to quickly heal the wound on Kalia's body, but Zeal's attack didn't end there. Arrows made of lightning compressed hit them again, Sylvie to be exact. But before the attack hit Sylvie, the arrow changed its shape. Lightning chain. The arrows turned into chains and restrained Sylvie. Maybe, do you think using this kind of thing can restrain me? As long as I can absorb the power of nature. Sylvie's sword stopped because she felt something strange. She was no longer receiving power supplies from her surroundings. The mansion prison. A cube-shaped prison of space, distorted form and locked Sylvie inside. Sylvie didn't get her power supply due to her disconnection with the surrounding nature, became limp in the space prison. Sylvie, are you okay? Kalia runs towards Sylvie and tries to free her, but Sylvie's screams stopped her footsteps. Be careful. When Sylvie shouted, Zeal was already in front of Kalia. He grabbed her by the neck and lifted her. Then he brought his face closer to hers, a little more. Their noses would touch. Even Kalia can feel his breath. Kalia, who was strangled by Zeal, tried to speak. It's useless for you to fight. I'm telling you, don't interfere in my business this time. I will let you go because you have no killing intent in your attacks, and killing you here will only make things more troublesome. I apologize for what I said, so now go to sleep. Zeal said nonchalantly to her. And then he used magic on Kalia and laid her on the floor. Kalia's face turned red either from being strangled or distance between them being too close started to shed tears after hearing Zeal's last sentence. Little by little, her consciousness began to fade due to Zeal's magic, until finally he was completely unconscious. Remind her after she wakes up. Doesn't meddle in my business again. Next time he won't be so lucky. Zeal spoke to the helpless Sylvie in the cage. After that, he immediately left Kalia Mansion. Sylvie could only nod repeatedly at his word.